But we're taking now to Kempinski for the Mobile Technology for Development Conference 23. The CEO of the Telcos Chamber, Kenneth Ashigbe, is addressing later. We expect to hear from the Vice President, who is the honorary speaker.
As this year, with a very high-powered delegation led by my fellow engineer, Angela Wamola, we hope that all of you will be able to attend our future conferences. Even as we start, the date for MT4D 2024 is the 19th and the 20th of March 2024, God willing. Please mark that in your diaries. This year, we have listened to you and we have changed things slightly. In addition to panels, we've put together a couple of workshops that allow us to go deeper into issues and ask questions to come up with actions. We'll also touch on some telecommunication topics that will provide us connectivity required to ensure that we drive digital inclusion in the rail sector of the economies of Africa. Additionally, taking a cue from the collaboration that drove the Chamber, the GRA, and other stakeholders with a mandate for from the economic management team to embark on research in line with data-led policy review of the e-levy, the Chamber has collaborated with GSMA, who has experience in this direction, to conduct some further research. So unlike the two former editions where we discussed, we discussed the GSMA mobile money report, this year would have a launch of a research that would continue with the work that was started with GRA. Yesterday, we presented the report to the Ministry of Finance and GRA as well. I'd want to commend the government for listening to the insight that came from the first research and reduce the e-levy from 1.5 to 1%, an action that from anecdotal evidence is beginning to yield results. We hope that with the work that we're going to do, we'll continue with this data-led review of the policy. Before I pass on to you, William, to tell us more about why we have chosen the current theme, I'd like to thank all our sponsors who have made this day possible. Vodafone Cash, Huawei, ZPay, Mobile Money Limited, Stanbic Bank, Airtel Tigo Money, IT Consortium, People's Pensions, BB Box, Fidelity Bank, and GIPS. Without you, this event would not have been possible. With the partnership of the Office of the Vice President, the Bank of Ghana, and the Ministry of Communication. I know this will be an exciting couple of days. We've put together an exceptional group of speakers that will certainly make your presence worthwhile. Don't miss the second day because it would be very interesting. Let me take this opportunity to share with you a gist. Very soon, we'll be launching the EMI Chamber of Ghana. Thank you all very much for joining us here at MT4D 2023. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Nyawezo, and William would continue.
Thank you very much, Ken. Though it's a digital conference, it's like we are all using paper. So, all protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So once again, we welcome you to the third edition of the Mobile Technology for Development Conference 2023. My name is William Durban. I'm the co-founder and chair of the Financial Inclusion Forum Africa, which is a forum for people who are passionate about promoting financial inclusion across Africa. I'm also the Global Director for Digital Financial Services for Opportunity International, which is a global NGO focused on transforming the lives of the poor and their children by providing access to financial services and training. Many years ago, I met a woman in rural Ghana. Her name is Faustina. She has a small farm where she plants enough to feed her family and sells the rest. Her farmer is a day laborer in the same community. They don't have a phone. Their kids go to the local low-cost school, and they live on the farm. And their parents have never been to school. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of us who are excited about new technologies, we are thrilled when we hear about them: 5G, IoT, AI, ChatGPT. However, for those of us who are also passionate about transforming the lives of people like Faustina, we know that technology in itself is not enough. That is why this year we are focusing on the impact of technology on the real economy, on people like Faustina. And our theme is driving digital financial inclusion in the real economy. Our continent, Africa, has between 60 to 80% of us engaged in the informal economy, mainly in agriculture, primary production. Can we imagine the potential we have to feed the entire world if we can find technology-driven, climate-resilient solutions of feeding people? Our average age on the continent is about 30 years. We have one of the youngest populations in the world. If we can use the power of technology to educate our young, they can become the technology leaders of the future, and no region in the world will be able to match us. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a world out there where Faustina can use technology to improve her life and that of her family. Over the next 2 days, we will discuss, we'll deliberate, we'll interrogate, we will learn from experts on how we can create that world. We will explore many issues and come up with actions and ideas to make technology real to us. As William Gibson once noted, the future is here. It's just not evenly distributed. It is imperative and urgent that we find ways to distribute technology so that people like Faustina can benefit. I implore all of us to think about Faustina as we discuss throughout the day. Once again, welcome to the conference and enjoy the next couple of days. Thank you.
All right, another round of applause for Dr. Ken and Dr. Deban. Right, thank you so much. The next batch of people will be seen on this podium will be the other key stakeholders who will be giving similar opening remarks like we just heard. And so joining us next is Angela Wamola. Angela is the head of Sub-Saharan Africa GSMA. A round of applause for Angela. She joins us here.
Good morning, everybody. Greetings from the continent, which I represent here, and Nairobi, where I come from. As you heard, I am from the GSMA. And the GSMA, for those who may not know, is the mobile industry body that represents operators and the mobile economy ecosystem globally. And our work focuses on unifying the mobile ecosystem to discover, to develop, and to deliver innovation for a positive business and societal change. Now, what does this mean? We are the only sort of global association. We represent Sub-Saharan Africa, based in Nairobi, and we represent those interests where our core work includes the harmonization of technology, which is here, what we're here to discuss for development, and using mobile connectivity to help close the usage gap worldwide, and particularly in Sub-Saharan Africa. Today, sadly, only 22% of our population in Sub-Saharan Africa are connected to the digital economy by ways of mobile broadband internet. This is compared to a global average of 55%. 61% of our population who have access to 3G or 4G have never connected to the internet. And another 17% don't even have a 3G or 4G signal close to them. This means that we are leaving behind 88% of our citizens. This is clearly not acceptable, because leaving no one behind means leaving no one offline. Our role is to unlock the power, the full power of the mobile internet and the mobile connectivity so that our people, our industries, and our societies can thrive. We know that the mobile sector continues to achieve its highest impact on SDG 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. SDG 1, no poverty. SDG 2, zero hunger. And SDG 4, quality education. And this is due to the increasing proportion of people who are using mobile for activities such as accessing government services through the government digitalization programs, applying and searching for jobs, and obtaining educational information for themselves and for our children. Connectivity will remain at the forefront of strategies to achieve our digital economy national and continental agenda. During the pandemic, we saw that those with access to fast and reliable and affordable internet were able to stay connected, access education and health, and work remotely. Those who were without access were the most vulnerable to economic and social disruption. And they risk continually falling behind even as the world emerges in a post-pandemic world. And online services become even more integral to our society. Therefore, as we sit here today, to truly unlock the power of mobile and address these societal issues that we face in Africa, the key will be to increase digital inclusion. Being connected is only the first step, but unlocking the transformative power of the mobile requires our people to have the necessary skills to realize the full potential of being connected online. We have to address barriers such as affordability, which will be critical to addressing access. To support smartphone adoption, we all must continue to look at making it more accessible and more affordable to our people. So, my parting shot is that as we gather here together, let us advance an enabling environment in tackling today's biggest challenge in the region. I welcome you also to MWC Africa in Kigali on the 17th to the 19th of October so that we can continue this conversation, because together we can partner for progress. Thank you very much.
Right, those are some insightful words from Angela. Thank you so much. Thank you. The next person to be mounting the podium is a rep from ZPay, which is Letitia. Her name is Letitia Brown. Letitia is the head of markets, inclusion, and advocacy. But before Letitia comes in, Letitia, you can come. But we're going to have a video, and then she'll speak right after. A round of applause for Letitia.
I'm going far from home and not of my own. I'll be learning to cope in every place that I go. Remaining basic but pussy who don't see my money fear. I wanna put a smile on your face, whether home or far away. But remaining basic
We are here for you as you help others along the way through the highs and lows of life. Let's get the world smiling again. Receive MoneyGram directly into your ZPay mobile money wallet.
I'm going far.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I was quite eager for us to be able to show this video, not only because our CEO, unfortunately, is stuck on a flight and wasn't able to make it this morning. He asked me to fill in for him, and I didn't want to have to say too much. So I think the video really explains what ZPay is about. It's about having access to finance, affordable, accessible, low-cost finance, purely from remittance into wallets. So I'm going to try and do just justice to Andrew's remarks this morning on his behalf. As they said, my name is Letitia. I'm the head of markets, inclusion, and advocacy at ZPay. So good morning, all protocols observed. Naturally, we're delighted to be here this morning and excited at this opportunity to participate and support in this prestigious event, which brings the fintech community and all necessary stakeholders together. ZPay is a remittance to wallet company that specializes in making it possible for remittances to reach the last mile from over 180 corridors globally. We have a presence in 25 African countries and licensed mobile money operator in 5 of them. We actually just launched in Gambia. We're currently in the process of the rollout at the moment, which is a huge remittance market, and really need the support of an organization like ZPay. So we're very proud of that. Our strategy over the next 5 years is to become the largest mobile money operator in Africa and the Caribbean. We recently launched in Barbados, with a special focus on remittances into ZPay mobile money wallets. So as you just saw in the video, through the ZPay platform, people are able to send remittances from MoneyGram, TapTapSend, Mama Money, a number of different MTOs across the world, directly into a mobile wallet. What does this mean? Essentially, it means that people that may have had to walk 10 kilometers, take transportation for 2-3 hours just to get to a payout point, now are able to receive their monies directly into their wallet and at a much lower cost as well. Global remittances are currently estimated at $800 billion US dollars, with Africa contributing 84 billion to that. Our mandate in partnership with MoneyGram is to digitalize the entire remittance ecosystem at the receive side with innovation. We embark on this journey every day with the aim of changing lives. It's in the spirit of this commitment that we stand here today as proud headline sponsors of this year's MT4D. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kwamena Asomenin is the Chief Executive Officer for Stanbic Bank, and he's next to give us the opening remark. A round of applause for him as he joins us here.
Good morning. Representative of His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Augustine Blay, representative of the Governor of the Central Bank, representative of the Minister of Communication and Digitization, CEOs from the telecom sectors, invited guests, panel members, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and thank you for joining us as we tackle an important topic, financial inclusion, which has been deemed so important that it features in 8 of the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And as I thought about the topic financial inclusion, I couldn't help but look back to how much has changed in our country in the last 10, 12 years. I moved back 12 years ago, and that was before MTN started its mobile money. And I remember a conversation where MTN had approached us and wanted to use our banking hall as distribution outlets. Now, fast forward 10, 12 years later, the distribution outlets that the mobile money ecosystem has is actually more than the branches, and the banks are actually looking now to use the distribution outlets of the telcos. So it's actually been a role reversal, how much has changed in 10 years. But financial inclusion refers to the delivery of financial services at affordable costs to disadvantaged and low-income segments of society. So that excludes most of us in the room here. By providing the ability to tap into earned income through loans, by providing the ability to tap into earned income through savings or future income through loans, or to manage a loss through insurance, households are better positioned to transition from everyday survival, which we term as hand-to-mouth, to planning for the future. According to research from Georgetown University and MIT, the mobile money service, M-Pesa, for example, has lifted 2% of the Kenyan population out of poverty, and that establishes a very strong link between poverty reduction and financial inclusion. The COVID-19 pandemic had the effect of accelerating the pace of digital financial inclusion, driven in large part by the increase in the number of people working from home, the temporary shutdown of banks, and the refusal of some merchants to accept cash payments. In countries where financial inclusion was prioritized, doing so resulted in more stable financial systems and economies. Additionally, the mobilization of domestic resources through national savings improved, as evidenced by the close to 6 to 8 billion in additional float that has been brought into the formal banking system by mobile money. Government revenue has also been boosted through recently the e-levy, but traditionally through taxes, higher taxes to the telcos and the banks. It is without question that our government was proactive in promoting digital financial inclusion through the adoption of a national financial inclusion strategy that has a horizon of 2018 to 2023 and a digital financial services policy that was established in 2020. While we can highlight the impetus digital financial inclusion can provide to our economy, there are quite a few challenges that we must resolve. Financial systems that are inclusive allow for a wide variety of financial services to be accessed by most people, the majority of whom are poor. Admittedly, remarkable progress in quantitative access has been made, but this is yet to translate into economic inclusivity in most developing countries, Ghana being no exception. Many of whom are in the room today. Digital innovations have also been introduced in areas such as energy, agriculture, healthcare, and education, all riding on digital financial rails. These offer new opportunities to transform the lives of the marginalized in society, particularly our youth, some women, the physically challenged, and people living in rural communities. Ghana is known to have the highest mobile phone penetration in West Africa, of 55%, which is 10% higher than the rest of the region. This has several implications for Ghanaians, as well as opportunities. How we carefully navigate these exigencies in the digital ecosystem to realize its real value is what we have to contemplate as we begin deliberations this morning. I look forward to a fruitful discussion with our seasoned speakers throughout the course of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think sometimes because we find ourselves, in the industry, we sometimes forget the power of such conversations. While I was seated and the speech was going on, my wife had just sent me a text that if I didn't send her data, she won't be able to watch this online. Sounded like a blackmail, but I just went ahead and sent the data to her. The whole process took less than 2 minutes, and she had received it. And that's the power of such conversations if we decide to, carry it all across Africa. Next on stage, we have Lee Maina. Forgive me if I murdered the name. Lee Maina. Lee Maina is the Chief Solutions Architect and Head of Operations for Huawei FinTech Southern Africa region. A round of applause for him as he joins us here.
Thank you to all esteemed guests, all protocols observed. Good morning. Just to clarify, the name is Lee Maina, and I pretty much lead the Huawei FinTech business across the Southern African region, but based in Kenya, so good to see my, my friends from the country. So Abarienyu. So I'm honored and privileged to be amongst you here today. And I honestly don't think it would be a better timing for us to have this conversation around driving digital financial inclusion for the real economy, right? And we are moving from a place whereby we want to evolve fintech from not only being ubiquitous to now start thinking, how do we exploit the rails which we've already built for us to be able to deepen the financial inclusion in each and every single sector? And for this endeavor, as Huawei, we cannot overemphasize or underemphasize on the need and the role that data will actually play to give us the insights that will help us to drive this agenda. Either it's, in connecting our MSMEs to new markets and new customers for purposes of, economies of scale, or connecting them to new suppliers, both locally or even globally, for them to be able to reduce on their cost of COGS, or even extending a line of credit with a very accurate credit risk assessment and the right risk assessment in terms of being able to come up with the right pricing that will help them thrive. And I align the word, right pricing. And basically believing that some of these efforts will basically trickle down to the customers and also be able to grow the whole entire economy at large. But for us to generate this much required data, there is need for concerted efforts across different stakeholders and regulators in bringing people online and motivating them to stay online, right? And also keep transacting online. And as a world-leading ICT provider and ICT enterprise, we share in the same vision that our vision and mission is to bring digital lifestyle to every single person, organization, as well as home, for us to achieve a much more connected world, as well as an intelligent world for that purpose. And with our FinTech 2.0, we continue to invest heavily in FinTech research and innovation, supporting players in the FinTech space to be able to develop end-to-end solutions that will bring on board and online every single vertical and its supporting value chain. And basically seeking to solve some of the persistent problems or challenges that some of these verticals have actually been facing. And looking forward to it, at the end of the day, we will remove any leakages to FinTech adoption and even building resilience in terms of our MSMEs. Secondly, we will be ultimately generating this much more required data that will not only drive innovation and localized innovation, but will help us in extending services in our endeavor to deepen financial inclusion. And lastly, it will support all the stakeholders and players to be able to efficiently deploy capital as well as resources. And this requires concerted efforts, and we're more than happy to see great entities here today, which we do look forward to collaborating with to accelerate this deepening of financial inclusion. Thank you, and looking forward to the discussions today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Quickly, I'd like to invite the next person from Vodafone, my very good friend Judith Adumwa. Please, a round of applause for her. Adumwa Bosman, yeah.
Representatives from government, representatives from the Bank of Ghana, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am thrilled to welcome you all to the 2023 edition of the Mobile Technology for Development Conference. Vodafone Cash is committed to driving financial inclusion. We believe that everyone should have access to the benefits of a digital society. This is why Vodafone Cash is proud to sponsor this year's conference. We are very eager to drive the change that digitalization brings to sectors as education, agriculture, and businesses. Change requires partnerships, collaborations between governments and the private sector. We believe that with change, together we can build very innovative products to meet the needs of our customers. As an industry, we've done very well by driving awareness of mobile money. However, adoption remains low. If you look at the Bank of Ghana statistics on fintechs for January 23, only about 36% of our users are active on a 90-day basis. This means that we have a lot of people who are registered but do not use the service. Today, you and I are at this conference, and my ask is we all participate fully to discuss the challenges, the concerns that we have as an industry, and what we can do together to drive uptake of digital financial services. Thank you.
All right, and so that brings us to the end of the opening remarks from our key stakeholders. Another round of applause for everyone who was here. Right, so we've been sitting for a while. We're going to have a very beautiful performance by the Nkambomye Cultural Group. For those of you who arrived early on, you realize that they were at the back, in fact, in front of the door, giving us some beautiful African music. So with a round of applause, shall we welcome on stage the Nkambomye Cultural Group.
The nature of work is rapidly changing in the help of technology. Digitization has shifted the roles of producers and consumers, as well as employers and the self-employed. Consumers are now able to sell their goods, services to other customers on a global scale, blurring the lines between production and consumption. This includes personal goods sold online through peer-to-peer exchanges, by allowing access to goods and services among users. Meanwhile, the impact of digital implications is already being felt in socioeconomic transformation. The efficient production and distribution of goods and services are being boosted, leading to new opportunities for income generation for millions of people, including those from disadvantaged backgrounds. Ladies and gentlemen, under financial services, digitization has revolutionized the sector, particularly the retail payment systems, and the potential it has to advance digital financial inclusion across Africa is immeasurable. Digital financial inclusion refers to the provision of affordable financial services, including mobile banking, online payment systems, and digital wallets to promote financial literacy. This revolution in payment cuts across rich and poor, formal and informal businesses, and both underserved and unserved populations. And this goes to the core of the goal of the AfCFTA to make sure that we leave no African behind. In addition, the financial services industry has been disrupted by technological advancements such as mobile connectivity, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and APIs. These technological advancements have led to a more modular financial services market with desegregation among ecosystem players. The full potential of the AfCFTA can be unlocked with the inclusion of digitization to enhance competitiveness of the African digital economy and fully exploit the potential of the digital era. It is essential for governments, the private sector, and development organizations to work together towards the swift implementation and development of not only hard infrastructure, but also soft infrastructure to create the necessary regulatory frameworks for these activities to thrive. The development of the right regulatory framework includes two key components: the modernization of existing regulatory frameworks and the development of new progressive regulations. On modernization of existing regulations, this component is particularly important for the financial services. And at the AfCFTA, the state parties are seeking to progressively liberalize trade in services by removing barriers to trade, which the current negotiators of the Protocol on Trade in Services have committed to liberalizing 5 priority sectors, including financial services. One key component of these negotiations is the development of cross-cutting regulatory frameworks in financial services. These regulatory frameworks will cover regulatory principles that will complement and facilitate the implementation of the market access commitments in all service sectors to boost intra-Africa trade in services. In the ensuing discussions, there is a need to modernize existing laws and regulatory principles in the financial services sector to allow new and emerging financial services to thrive. The AFCFTA member states and state parties are also developing the AFCFTA Protocol on Digital Trade. The protocol is envisioned to align our desires and objectives to promote and facilitate digital trade among state parties. This will be achieved by the following, and I'll just mention two: establishing clear, coherent, transparent, harmonized rules, common principles, and/or standards for digital trade, and two, creating a fair, open, predictable, secure, and trustworthy digital trade environment for businesses and consumers. We are pleased to report that negotiations towards the development of the Protocol on Digital Trade has commenced, with the protocol expected to be finalized by this year in June. A continental framework will be provided by the protocol, which will allow for the integration and expansion of the digital trade space, the enhancement of access to digital technologies, and the advancement of regulations pertaining to data and consumer protection across the continent. All these factors are of crucial importance to the growth of dynamic industries in the digital era. As I conclude, this is a pivotal period for Africa's future. It is absolutely necessary for us to come together in order to guarantee that our continent will be able to sustain itself and also to protect the future of later generations. Africa now has access to the data, experience, and advocacy. It needs to advance its economy. The ability to assist our businesses in adapting to new possibilities and constraints will be critical to the agreement's success and will the manner in which African leaders negotiate the terms of the AFCFTA. The rallying call is, let us bridge the digital divide, let us utilize the resources that we have in digital to improve the economies of Africa, and let us make digital access that is for the African people, accessible by the African people. I thank you very much.
Thought-provoking conversations, as well as insightful conversations so far. And I am personally excited anytime conversations around these, digitalization and financial inclusion comes up. We'll be acknowledging the presence of some protocols as the program goes on, but in the meantime, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Minister of Communication and Digitalization, who also doubles as the MP for New Jabin, Honorable Ama Poma. Another round of applause for her. Next to mount this podium is the Deputy Director for Bank of Ghana in the person of Madam Clarissa Kudowo. A round of applause for her, please.
Good morning. Executive Secretary from the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Bawumia's office, Honorable Deputy Minister for Communications and Digitalization, all protocols observed. As you've been told, I'm representing the governor, so please permit me to read his speech. Thank you. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for the invitation to be part of this third Mobile Technology for Development Conference. The chosen theme, Driving Financial Inclusion in the Real Economy, broadly captures the bank's overarching objective to broaden financial access for inclusive growth and societal welfare. Since the mid-2000s, Ladies and gentlemen, the bank has leveraged on advances in information and communication technology to push the frontiers of financial inclusion as well as promote the Cashlight agenda. This has broadened the scope of financial institutions to include financial technology firms with innovative financial products and services. In addition, the traditional banking operations have also witnessed significant automation processes as part of the comprehensive digitization agenda. The extent of mobile phone penetration and the supportive infrastructural payment ecosystem has become a potent tool for financial services delivery across various segments of society. These enormous digitization shifts in the financial sector have not occurred in a vacuum. It has taken the efforts of several stakeholders spearheaded by the Bank of Ghana to formulate conducive regulatory framework, which has reflected in the tiered licensing framework. As of January 2023, 46 fintechs had been licensed to operate, with extensive reliance on local talents and resources. These firms, together with over 700,000 registered mobile money agents, indicates that the financial digitization agenda has contributed significantly to employment generation in the country. Furthermore, the payment system data show that approximately 56 million mobile money accounts have been registered, which serves as a critical mass for digital transformation of the real sector. Another notable achievement of digital financial inclusion is the aggregation of smaller amounts of monies from the large registered mobile money accounts base into bank accounts. These accounts had accumulated a total balance of 12.8 billion Ghana cedis as at the end of January 2023, which constitutes an essential component of the bank's deposit mobilization effort with positive implications for financial intermediation. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, digital technology is enhancing easy access to credit in novel ways. Data generated from digital payment transactions and the GSMA airtime have become valuable inputs for generating credit scores using data analytic tools. Without collateral, micro-enterprises and individuals have obtained instant microloans for economic activities and for emergency financing need. The delivery of such non-collateralized loans through innovative products developed by fintechs is highly commendable. With the emergence and adoption of other new technology tools such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and robotic processing automation, fintechs are better positioned to add on to such innovative products and services to significantly benefit small and medium-sized enterprises and further enhance growth in economic activities. In addition to the financial inclusion gains of the SMEs through these financial products and services, the bank has also issued the merchant account categories policy to promote SME acceptance of digital payments through commensurate onboarding requirements. This is an essential step towards generating immense benefits for the SMEs from digital financial inclusion. To cement these benefits, the Bank of Ghana and the Monetary Authority of Singapore are jointly implementing the Business Sans Borders project, which, among others, seeks to digitally connect SMEs around the world through hybrid data and solutions hub driven by self-learning artificial intelligence, supported by innovative and relevant financial services. On completion of this project, SMEs in Ghana are expected to gain more business opportunities globally. Despite the progress made so far, there is a need to further scale up merchant acceptance through digital payments. This calls for innovative fintech solutions sensitive to the peculiar needs of diverse businesses. The Bank of Ghana's regulatory sandbox, which was launched in October 2022, aims to encourage and support such innovations. The first cohort window of the regulatory sandbox opened on February 15, 2023, and ended on March 14, 2023. Among the priority areas were solutions targeting merchant acceptance. This is one of the surest ways of embedding digital payments in the Ghanaian society to diffuse the gains of financial inclusion. Fintechs innovators are therefore encouraged to patronize the regulatory sandbox when the next cohort opens. Ladies and gentlemen, to further enhance the impact of digital financial inclusion on the real sector, stakeholders must collaborate to promote digital literacy skills. Although functional digital skills are acquired through the use of mobile phones, the transferability of such skills to digital solutions being deployed in other sectors of society could support the quest to establish an inclusive society based on digital technology. Already, some farmers are benefiting from digital apps deployed to disseminate essential information, including weather, fertilizer application, pest migration, diseases, and market prices. Other integrated solutions have also brought together farmers, financial institutions, buyers, and agricultural experts to build an ecosystem of transparency and mutual trust towards improved collaboration. Clearly, this approach embeds digital technology into real sector activities and hence holds substantial promise for digital transformation of society. Fintechs must therefore collaborate with other digital solution providers to educate as well as provide platforms to fast-track the diffusion of digital technology across all economic sectors. Already, the requisite policies and infrastructure for takeoff of a digital economy are in place, alongside demonstrable evidence from the ECD pilot, which is currently in its final stage, to anchor the inclusive digital financial service space. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you that the Bank of Ghana is fully committed to building a safe, robust, and innovative fintech ecosystem to support Ghana's economic growth and development efforts. I wish you fruitful deliberations and a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Clarissa. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to correct the constituency of the Honorable Minister. She's the MP for Jabin in the Ashanti region. That's right. Forgive me. I believe I'm forgiven. With a round of applause, shall we invite the Honorable Minister as she gives us her brief speech? Please, let's do it better for her. Yeah.
Thank you. We are getting to a campaign season, so it's very important. My people know I'm still with them. Thank you very much. I'd like to apologize on behalf of my minister, Honorable Esla Owusu-Ekufo. She tried to be here, but something came up, so I have to quickly come in and support and give her speech. It's good to see you all. Happy New Year. It's been a while. Your Excellency, Mr. Blay, I know you're representing our Vice President, representative of the Secretary General of AFTA, our representative from Bank of Ghana, CEO, Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, President, Financial Inclusion Forum Africa, our captains of industry, honorable distinguished panelists, other discussants, participants joining us virtually, the media, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first express my gratitude to the organizers, not necessarily for the invitation, but for the opportunity to address a cross-section of people who represent change on the continent. It is important for me because if we want to sustain the progress being made by the big players on the continent for the continent and derive maximum benefit from what technology offers, we must bring others along. Collaboration at any level is therefore key to our collective success in the area of technology. This conference has become one of the leading events that brings key stakeholders together to talk about the digital ecosystem, technology, and its impact on the real economy, as well as the sustainable development of not just our country, but the entire continent of Africa. The collaboration between the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, its agencies, along with members of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, has led to the provision of very critical emergency spectrum to enable us to manage the growth in demand for data, connectivity for public workers to work from home, and zero-rated some websites to enable students to study, just to mention a few. The topic for this year's event, driving digital financial inclusion in the real economy, is so relevant and goes to the heart of the various initiatives by government. That is, making digital technology work for the people. I believe all of us gathered here can agree that technological solutions are not developed for the sake of developing them, and that such solutions are meaningless if they do not solve a challenge in the lives of the average person and improve their quality of life. We have therefore, over the years, focused on improving adoption and use of technology by addressing issues of infrastructure, regulatory and policy, and capacity building, all flowing from the Ghana Digital Agenda in 2017 to our current digital transformation agenda. And the private sector has been a critical part of this journey. The strategy is intended not only to position Ghana as the digital gateway to the continent of Africa, but also to take advantage of the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. As we seek to ensure connectivity throughout our country, as well as pursue the African agenda, we are extending our digital infrastructure to our eastern, western, and northern frontiers to enable seamless connection to our neighbors. In order to effectively drive digital financial inclusion, we first of all need to drive digital inclusion and connectivity. Ministry of Communications and Digitalization and its agencies, working with the private sector, have introduced many initiatives to narrow the digital divide and empower citizens to embrace the use of ICT. We are implementing the Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project to connect over 3 million people to now have equal access to the innovations and digital initiatives introduced by both government and the private sector. Let me mention a few. We have the mobile money interoperability. We have the national identification card as a single process eID. We have the digital skills. Okay, let me go back to the national identification card. Let me take the opportunity to thank the telcos for all the support they gave the ministry during the SIM registration. Let me also mention the digital skills development offered through a nationwide network of digital transformation centers to benefit over 20,000 women entrepreneurs, master trainers, youth and children in coding clubs. We also have focused interventions to reduce the gender digital divide. I smiled when I got to this, and create opportunities for the youth through the Girls in ICT program, as well as nurturing of new businesses at digital incubation centers. For 2023, our target is to train 5,000 girls. And for our sponsors here, MTN and my sister from Vodafone and Airtel, Tigo, and all the others. We want to do 5,000 girls this year. So please, as you always do, we are just asking for more. I would also want to take the opportunity to thank the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications for launching the Seat for Ladies in STEM, an initiative that also seeks to bridge the gender gap in STEM-related jobs by offering more ladies opportunities for internships, national service placements, employment, as well as mentorship of ladies who are already in STEM jobs. This is an initiative that has my support and that of the ministry. The ministry would work with the chamber to ensure that we approach parity in the STEM job market within half a decade or even earlier. This initiative will be a bridge to the ministry's Girls in ICT project. It is important that we work to ensure that the tech industry reflects our diversity aspirations for our society. As mentioned by His Excellency, the President, in the State of the Nation address, we have chalked quite some very impressive feats. These include the construction of more NCA-licensed fiber optic cables than any other government in the Fourth Republic, 93% of total. Establishment of Africa's first national-scale electronic pharmacy platform, provision of free Wi-Fi to 700 senior high schools, 46 colleges of education, 260 district education offices, and an initial successful pilot of 13 public universities. We have also introduced the drones in the delivery of critical medicine, vaccines, and blood to people in remote parts of the country. And today, Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery service in the world, with 6 zipline distribution centers in Ominako, Mpaye, Vopsi, Sohi, Yoso, Kitakrachi, and Enum. We also have the deployment of the e-VAT and e-invoicing system. The National Health also has deployed a self-enrollment mobile application, My NHIS app, that allows Ghana card holders to self-enroll in the scheme. And this application enables registration and renewal for oneself and others by linking NHIS cards to Ghana cards. In 2022, over 5 million members' data were linked to their Ghana card to enable them access healthcare using their cards. Under digital economy policy, as a ministry, we are resolute in our plans when it comes to speeding up the development of the right policy and legal environment to facilitate the utilization of digital technology, applications, and services at all levels. We are equally committed to developing and protecting our digital infrastructure and enhancing the acquisition of digital skills of our youth. It is only through effective collaboration with stakeholders like you gathered here, along with the implementation of the policies and regulations, that the above stated objectives and more can be accomplished. Following the adoption of the ICT for Accelerated Development Policy in 2003, Ghana has advanced legislative reforms and a supportive regulatory environment, leading to investments in adoption of ICT solutions throughout various sectors of the economy. These initiatives have ushered the country into the digital economy with its attendant opportunities and challenges, including those uncovered by the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Ultimately, the Ghana digital economy policy will facilitate the increased contribution of digital economy to the growth of our national GDP, address national priorities such as job creation and unlocking value in high potential sectors, while strengthening inclusion, safeguarding national interests, and augmenting efficiency in public service delivery. As a government, under the eminent leadership of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo and his Vice, Dr. Bawumia, we continue to expand the capability for public policy to inspire digital transformation initiatives to improve the lives of Ghanaians. It is against this backdrop that the ministry has been championing the need for a frank and open dialogue on the equitable contribution by big technology companies to the investment needed for the expansion of our telecommunication networks to provide the critical connectivity, not just for Ghana, but Africa's development. I firmly believe that it is about time that as a continent, we ensure that every industry that benefits from our infrastructure and offers services to our citizens contributes their fair share. So big tech, including Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, Amazon, Twitter, and Netflix, just to name a few, need to contribute to the expansion of Africa's network infrastructure that has been built by the investments made by the mobile network operators. They should also make fiscal contribution to our economies. This is a conversation that requires a pan-African approach that I am happy GSMA, Smart Africa, and other organizations are beginning to respond to an issue I have been raising for quite some time. We are watching what the consultations that the European Commission is currently doing about the same issues would result in. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to reiterate that our drive towards universal access to technology and digital inclusion is meaningless if we do not look at access and usage, especially for majority of our people who are unable to afford it. In doing this, we must look at pricing to ensure it is affordable. Even though we are doing remarkably well by making data affordable, I still think there's still some work that would require a multi-stakeholder approach to drive our prices down. We may have to consider optimal pricing of spectrum and making them available, completing work on the revision of the tower guidelines, and working with other state agencies to reduce the incidence of fiber cuts and vandalization of cell sites. These are policy interventions my ministry is committed to working on, and I'm sure we can continue to show further improvement in the affordability index. In conclusion, I would like to echo government's commitment to ensuring our real economy is running and has the right policy and regulatory atmosphere to blossom in a way that upholds the interest of Ghanaians. That said, I wish to express my profound appreciation to the organizers and sponsors of this annual conference. I see this as a noble contribution towards national development, as it is through this kind of platform that we find ways to build a robust and mutually beneficial ecosystem. Once again, consider our continuous participation as a reaffirmation of government's commitment to building our real economy. Have a productive MT4D 2023. Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to be joined by a representative from the Office of the President in the person of Dr. Augustine Blay. But let me tell you something small, very small about Dr. Augustine Blay. Dr. Augustine Blay is a technology leader and a scholar with over 15 years of experience in developing solutions for both public and private sectors in the US and Africa. He is a PhD holder in the information technology, in information technology with a focus on digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and data science. In addition to working as an executive secretary to the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, he also heads the digitization initiatives of his boss, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Dr. Augustine Blay has over 15 years' experience of leading technology teams that develop solutions for both U.S. public and private sectors. Dr. Augustine's experience demonstrates his expertise in leading technology projects for large organizations in both the public and private sectors. Dr. Blay has published several papers on topics related to knowledge management, change management, and factors influencing employees' intentions to use their own devices in organizations. He is fluent in French, English, and Spanish, and has authored books such as The Patriotic Youth of Ghana, Profile of the Unsung Heroes and Secret Weapon of the 2012 Elections, and What Ghana Can Teach the World, a case of the 2012 electoral petition. At the Conference on Mobile Technology for Development, Dr. Augustine Blay is representing His Excellency, the Vice President, and will be sharing his insights on how technology adoption and digital transformation can drive economic growth and development in emerging markets. His expertise in government digital services, organizational behavior, and technology adoption will offer unique perspectives on the opportunities and challenges of leveraging technology to accelerate development in low-resource settings. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Augustine Blay.
Good morning. For a minute, I thought you were speaking about someone else. I don't. You just come to work and work for the good of the country. So, I'm happy to be here. Representatives of the Minister of Communications, Honorable Aslawusu Ekufu, who is here. The rep is Honorable Amapoma Boateng, MP, who still has the people behind, of Jaben in Ashanti region. Also the Deputy Minister of Communication, the rep of the Secretary General of AFCTA, rep of the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, President of Financial Inclusions Forum Africa, captains of industry, honorable distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, technology enthusiasts, financial inclusion experts, on and on and on. Good morning. It is an honor to deliver the keynote address on behalf of the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, for this year's gathering on the theme of driving digital financial inclusion in the real economy. Let me express my profound gratitude to the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications and the Financial Inclusion Forum Africa for organizing this event once again, the third edition, to bring together stakeholders of Ghana's telecommunications, financial industry, and of the vibrant digital financial service ecosystem. This is an idea forum, the exchange of ideas on how best to leverage mobile technology for our continent's development. Let me commend all stakeholders who have committed time, energy, resources, and financial resources to make this event possible. I am pleased that the Mobile Technology for Development Conference, which the Vice President had the honor to launch in 2020, has not only become a platform for industry engagement to shape our local digital ecosystem, but has also helped position Ghana as a major destination for global technology investors. I want to thank you all for making this possible. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, digital financial inclusion has become a global phenomenon that is transforming the way people transact and manage their finances. It has the potential to provide access to financial services to millions of unbanked and underbanked individuals, which is critical for inclusive economic growth. However, as we all know, the real economy is where economic activities takes place, and digital financial inclusion must be integrated into the real economy to have a tangible impact on our citizens' lives. This is why I believe the topic, driving digital financial inclusion in the real economy, is very appropriate at this juncture in our economic development. As a country, we have made significant strides in the digital financial inclusion agenda. Today, Ghana is recognized as a success story and a global hub for digital innovation and disruption, therefore attracting both talent and funding to this country. The government, through the Ministry of Finance, launched the National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy, NFIDS, for 2018 to 2023, which outlined our ambitious vision to reduce the financially excluded in our society from 25% in 2015 to 15% by 2023. By dint of hard work, commitment, and collaboration of all stakeholders, we surpassed the 2023 target in 2021. Indeed, the Ghana Demand Side Survey report indicates that 95% of our adult population, 15 years and older, use both formal and informal mechanisms to manage their financial needs. To emphasize, from a target of 15% in 2023, we achieved 5% financial exclusion in 2021, making Ghana one of the most financially included societies in the world. The State of Inclusive Instant Payment in Africa report, which was launched at the Mobile World Congress Africa in 2022 in Kigali, Rwanda, found Ghana far ahead of her peers in regard to financial inclusion. Ghana, remarkably, was the only country that scored 100% on access to financial inclusion. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, often a time, when these milestones have been achieved, we often lose sight of the deliberate and well-thought-out steps we took to get there. There are four main components of this financial inclusion paradigm: the banking sector, consumers, the business, and finally, government. The government of Ghana had to set up the policy framework needed to integrate the payment platforms. So first, government, through GIPS, integrated the banks to make them interoperable on the back of GIPS Instant Pay. Then GIPS introduced a biometric payment system called eSwitch, which was also made interoperable, before moving on to integrate the mobile money operators into an interoperable platform. GIPS CEO, Mr. Archie Hesse, put it eloquently when he said the following: by making all the three platforms interoperable, we ensure that no matter who is making the payment and from wherever the person is, they will be able to do so seamlessly and instantly. As a result, as the rep of the Bank of Ghana said, 56 million mobile money accounts created. Following the successful implementation of the mobile money interoperability platform, we set out to create an enabling regulatory and policy environment for the development of digital financial services as a poster child for Ghana's economic transformation. This led to the launch of three key policies. One, the National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy was developed with the specific aim of increasing financial inclusion from 58% to 85% by 2023 in order to help create economic opportunities and reduce poverty. 2, a digital financial services policy built on existing technological gains to create a resilient, inclusive, and innovative digital ecosystem that contributes to social development, a robust economy, and a thriving private sector. 3, the Cash Light Roadmap put forward concrete steps to build an inclusive digital payment ecosystem. This includes better access to financial services, enabling regulation and oversight, and promoting consumer protection. As part of these policy efforts, the government set up a new digital payments coordination unit to drive effective stakeholder engagement on the implementation of key actions. These successes, ladies and gentlemen, were consciously and deliberately created by harnessing an enabling policy environment and fostering private-public partnerships to ignite growth and development in the real economy. While these are significant milestones, we must recognize that digital financial inclusion is not an end in itself. We must integrate digital financial inclusion into the real economy to improve financial resilience, boost economic activities, and reduce poverty. On the consumer side, the expansion of financial inclusion requires the establishment of trust of consumers in the financial system, trust of the financial sector in the identity of consumers, and trust of consumers and the financial sector into government to regulate and create a safe environment to conduct digital financial transactions. On the back of the successful implementation of the mobile money interoperability platform, government proceeded to biometrically register Ghanaians on the National Identification Platform, in which about 18 million Ghanaians are registered on it biometrically. The 10 fingers, the eye, 2 eyes, irises, their face, making 13 biometric elements captured to ensure that the identity of the Ghanaians that are registered is immutable. It is important to also pause here to understand the importance of platform economy within the context of financial inclusion. In essence, the establishment of a virtual community of consumers, a virtual community that's vibrant, active, and collaborative. The real economy must have a certain sure presence in a virtual real economy. Platforms such as Uber, TikTok, Facebook, social media platforms create a semblance of a real economy where there's a virtual identity exists. But within our ecosystem, we should not create siloed platforms where siloed virtual communities if you want to expand the financial inclusion. Within the platform, as many have said, we look at giving loans, credit scores, but beside that, the platform economy gives an opportunity for consumers to use their knowledge to establish their credibility, through which they can have access to financial resources. Today, I would therefore like to outline some of the key steps that we have taken to drive financial inclusion in the real economy. These steps include expanding access to digital financial services, promoting financial literacy and education, improving regulatory frameworks, and investing in infrastructure and innovation. These key points are self-explanatory, and we are all experts. I don't have to get into detail of that. But in terms of expanding access to digital financial services, we must make sure that it's easy. The government makes sure that it's easier to pay for transactions. Different payment channels have been established, the QR code. And we continue to work with the Ministry of Communication and the stakeholders and the private sector to reduce the cost of data associated with these transactions. Promoting financial literacy and education. I encourage the fintechs and the actors in the financial inclusion framework to adopt a concept of catch them young. As much as they seek to educate our young ones in technology skills, they must also educate them on how to use financial service, digital financial transactions or services to save and conduct transactions. In the area of improving regulatory frameworks, we must look at how to protect the data as more platform comes online and more fintechs come online and more transaction comes online. It is important to understand that data has to be protected. Not only data, but access to the back-end tools of these platforms have to also be protected. We must look at regulatory to ensure that clearances are put in place and that platform being built or system being built are done in an ethical manner. Agri-tech, edu-tech, health tech, and clean tech are all in the real sector of our economy. That will require a lot of attention, but they all sit in the same principle where you have consumers, you have investors, you have the banks, you have government. We have paid a lot of attention to fintech, and the results are there for everyone to see. I will urge that we adopt ecosystem paradigm and learn to work in teams so we can build unicorns within the fintech and other tech sectors as well. However, in the real sector, we must work to ensure that we adopt technology to resolve the challenges within our agricultural value chain, increase our productivity, reduce the drudgery in the sector, and make agriculture attractive to the Generation Z. We should not miss the benefits of the COVID pandemic and deploy technology in education and healthcare as well. This will enable us to maximize the limited human resources we have and ensure that our people, no matter where they are able to get access to the best healthcare and educational facilities. The Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, announced last week the government is working that by the end of the month, we will have a program in place that every Ghanaian child born will have an ID associated with the person that will follow the person from birth to death. Working to contribute into building trust in this ecosystem. It is for this reason why I will urge the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization to work with the NCA and members of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunication to ensure that we have complete national coverage of 4G network in every nook and cranny of the country. Then speed up work on the 5G roadmap for the country. 5G in Ghana, and for that matter, Africa, is a matter of when, not if. If the decision on when to launch 5G is often based on a number of factors, the decision on when to launch 5G is often based on a number of factors in the local market that reflect the readiness of operators to roll out 5G networks and readiness of customers, consumers, and enterprises to adopt 5G services and 5G-enabled solutions. As a government, we will work to ensure an enabling environment, to ensure that there is congenial environment to attract the necessary investment and facilitate the right use case for 5G. More fiber deployment and other complementary connectivity technology to ensure we are ready for the future. We need the best connectivity to take advantage of IoT, AI, and other digital transformation technology to ensure that we can develop the real sector of our economy. The next few days, we will be paying attention to the discussions that address these points, and we'll count on your honest input as we continue to build one of the most formidable and diverse modern and digitized economies. Ghana is not big enough for us all. It is the reason why I'm happy that the Secretary General of the AFCTA has been represented here. Our efforts should be geared to Africa as a market. We should learn to work among ourselves and also collaborate with our brothers and sisters on the continent so that we can scale up our innovations and solutions. I wish the conference fruitful deliberations. I look forward to learning about the recommendations from this event to grow our digital ecosystem and position our country, Ghana, as a leading innovation hub in the sub-region. Thank you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Augustine Blay. Another round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. That was good. All right, so we'll be moving into the next phase of the conference, much more detailed, a part where we're going to have a panel sit here, and then they're going to go into details, have more thought-provoking conversations still around the theme, driving digital financial inclusion in the real economy. But before that, we're going to have a 10-minute break so we can set up the place. We have some sort of coffee, set up at the back. So we're going to have all of us move outside, and then we will do that. But before that, I would like to invite Dr. Augustine Blay on stage, joined by all the speakers that we've had so far. We're going to have a number of photos, then we'll move into the next session. So please. Right, so all the speakers, the CEOs and their deputies, please join him here, and let's do that. Whilst they set up, I'll also like to quickly acknowledge some of our sponsors: Vodafone Cash, Huawei, ZPay Ghana Limited, Mobile Money Limited, Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited, Airtel Tigo Money, People's Pension Trust, IT Consortium, Opportunity International Savings and Loans, B-Box Limited, and then our media partners, Joy News, Graphic News Plus, and ABC News Ghana. Let me also remind all of us that we are live on all the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications platforms. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, I guess. Yeah. Right.